Ladies and gentlemen, every one of us is born with something priceless. Potential. It's not stored in a bank. It doesn't show up on a resume, but it's real. And it's waiting. The question is, how do we unlock it? How do we step into the future that's already calling our name? The key is simple, yet profound. Live today with your future in mind. The future doesn't begin tomorrow. It begins now. It's not something we stumble into. It's something we build brick by brick with the choices we make daily. To live your future, you must first see it. Vision is the blueprint of destiny. Without vision, life becomes a cycle of survival, not a journey of significance. But with vision, even the smallest task becomes meaningful because it's a step in the direction of purpose. Once you catch that vision, you'll need purpose to fuel your pursuit. Purpose answers the question, why am I here? When you know why you're here, giving up is no longer an option. Distractions lose their power. Criticism doesn't derail you. Challenges don't crush you. They sharpen you. But vision and purpose are not enough without discipline. Discipline is the bridge between your now and your next. It's waking up early when you feel like sleeping in. It's saying no to shortcuts so you can say yes to greatness. Vision unlocks direction because it gives clarity to where you are going and why you are going there. Without vision, life becomes a cycle of routines, reactions, and repetitions. People wake up, go to work, handle responsibilities, and repeat the process, all without a true sense of where they are headed. Vision changes that. It gives a person the ability to see beyond the moment, to look past current limitations and setbacks, and focus on a preferred future that hasn't yet materialized. It is not simply wishful thinking or daydreaming. It is a clear, compelling mental picture of what could be, fueled by a strong sense of purpose and potential. A person with vision doesn't just move. They move with intent. They don't just do things, they do things on purpose. Vision provides a kind of internal compass. When life offers multiple choices, vision helps filter out distractions. It keeps the person focused, disciplined, and steady in the face of obstacles. When others are scattered or unsure, the one with vision remains anchored because they are not living randomly. Their steps are directed by an internal map that points them towards something greater than the present moment. Vision influences behavior. It shapes decisions. It changes how you see time. You begin to treat your days as investments, not just hours to be spent. You measure your actions by whether or not they are leading you closer to your desired future. People with vision learn to say no to good things so they can say yes to the right things. They are not driven by trends or public opinion because vision gives them their own lane. And staying in your lane is essential to making meaningful progress. You don't arrive at your future by accident. You walk there intentionally, guided by what you see in your spirit, even if it hasn't yet shown up in the natural world. Vision is especially powerful during difficult times. When the path gets hard, people without vision quit. But those with vision endure because they see beyond what is happening. They interpret trials as temporary. They view problems as that of the process. Vision gives pain a purpose. It tells you that what you're going through is not the end. It's a step. This mindset creates endurance, resilience, and hope. Hope is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of vision in the midst of it. Having a vision also affects the people around you. Vision is contagious. When a person carries a clear and compelling vision, others begin to see it too. It stirs something in them. It gives them permission to believe in more. Leaders who carry vision don't have to beg people to follow them. They attract them. Why? Because people don't follow positions. They follow clarity. They are drawn to direction. They want to be part of something that's going somewhere. And nothing goes somewhere unless someone sees it first. Vision also brings alignment. It aligns your talents, your relationships, your opportunities, and your energy. When you have direction, you stop wasting time trying to be everything. You begin focusing on being what you were designed to be. You start placing your gifts where they belong. You stop chasing popularity and start pursuing purpose. And in doing so, your life begins to gain momentum. Direction creates movement, and movement over time produces progress. The truth is, your future already exists. It's just waiting to be seen. And once you see it, you begin to move toward it with a level of confidence and courage that others can't explain. You're no longer living by sight, you're living by insight. That insight becomes your guidance system, your motivator, and your map. It gives you the strength to stay on course when distractions rise. It gives you the clarity to recognize what's for you and what isn't. It gives you peace, because you know that even when life doesn't make sense now, it's all leading somewhere. Purpose fuels persistence because it gives meaning to effort, clarity to struggle, and direction to the journey. When a person understands their purpose, they are no longer moved by temporary feelings or fleeting circumstances. They operate from a deep internal conviction that what they are doing matters. This inner conviction becomes a driving force that keeps them going even when the road gets rough and even when the results are not immediately visible. Without purpose tend to give up easily because they lack a reason to endure. But when you know why you're doing something, quitting becomes much harder. The truth is, every worthwhile pursuit comes with resistance. Life will always test the strength of your desires. There will be moments when nothing seems to be working, when everything around you says it's not worth it or you're wasting your time. But in those moments, purpose becomes your anchor. It reminds you that you are not here by accident and that your journey has a reason behind it. That reason gives you the stamina to keep moving when motivation fades. Motivation is temporary and emotional. Purpose is constant and spiritual. It stays when inspiration disappears. It holds you steady when you're tired, discouraged, or misunderstood. When someone is driven by purpose, their perspective on failure changes. Failure no longer becomes a dead end. It becomes feedback. It becomes part of the process of refinement. Purpose transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth. It gives you the strength to push past rejection, silence, and setbacks. It rewires your mindset to see resistance as confirmation, not as a sign to stop. Because when you know you're doing what you were born to do, you understand that difficulty is not a signal to quit, it's a signal to grow. Persistence is not just about talent or toughness, it's about belief. And belief is powered by purpose. People have skills, but they lack staying power. They start strong, but they don't finish because they're not grounded in purpose. Talent may open doors, but only purpose will keep you walking through them when it's dark, uncertain, or lonely. Purpose gives birth to discipline, and discipline is what builds consistency. Without purpose, you will look for shortcuts. You'll try to bypass the process. But purpose reminds you that the process is the path. People who operate from purpose also tend to outlast those who are only in it for applause, rewards, or recognition. That's because their fuel comes from within. They don't need external validation to keep going. They may appreciate encouragement, but they don't depend on it. They are sustained by the fire of knowing they're doing what they were uniquely created to do. That sense of significance becomes their source of strength. It becomes the reason they get up early, the reason they try again after failing, the reason they ignore critics and keep building, learning, and evolving. Purpose also keeps you from comparison. When you're not clear on your purpose, it's easy to look at someone else's life and feel behind, less than, or out of place. But when your purpose is here, your lane is clear. You stop measuring your progress by someone else's journey. You realize that your race is not a competition, it's a calling. And calling requires commitment, not comparison. Purpose gives you peace in your process and keeps you focused on your unique assignment, not on the noise around you. In seasons of delay, purpose speaks louder than doubt. It reminds you that just because something is taking time doesn't mean it's not working. Purpose helps you endure the silent seasons, the waiting periods, the long nights of sowing without seeing. It strengthens your resolve and deepens your patience. You learn to trust the unseen because you're anchored by a truth that's bigger than your current situation. That trust produces persistence, the kind that doesn't break under pressure, but bends with it and bounces back stronger. Discipline shapes destiny because it is the invisible force that turns potential into progress and dreams into reality. Everyone has a vision, a desire to achieve something meaningful, but without discipline, that desire remains dormant. Discipline is what bridges the gap between intention and outcome. It is the consistent practice of doing what needs to be done, even when emotions, circumstances, or distractions try to pull you away. It's easy to be excited at the beginning of a journey, but discipline is what keeps you going when the excitement fades. It provides the structure needed to stay focused, stay committed, and keep moving forward. Destiny is not something that happens overnight. It is the result of a long series of decisions, habits, and sacrifices that are made daily. Discipline is what creates those habits. It shapes your behavior, trains your mind, and molds your character. It's not always loud or glamorous. It's often quiet and unseen. Waking up early, saying no to temptation, practicing your craft, managing your time, avoiding unnecessary distractions. These are all acts of discipline. Over time, they accumulate, and the compound effect of daily disciplined actions begins to shape your future. People often admire the results of success, but overlook the discipline that built it. The artist who creates beauty, the athlete who wins championships, the entrepreneur who builds an empire, behind each of them is a story of daily discipline. Destiny doesn't respond to feelings, it responds to principles, and discipline is a principle that never fails. It teaches you to follow through, to push through fatigue, and to stay grounded when everything in you wants to quit. It demands self-control, and with self-control comes power, the power to direct your energy toward what really matters. Discipline also guards you from distractions. In a world filled with noise and options, it's easy to be pulled in different directions. Without discipline, time gets wasted, energy gets scattered, and focus gets lost. But discipline helps you prioritize, keeps your eyes on the goal and your hands on the work. It tells you what to say yes to and what to walk away from. It trains your emotions so you don't chase instant gratification at the cost of long-term success. While others are chasing comfort, the disciplined person is building capacity. While others are drifting, the disciplined person is designing their destiny one intentional choice at a time. There will be days when you don't feel inspired. There will be times when your progress seems invisible and your efforts feel unrewarded. Discipline carries you through those days. It doesn't rely on motivation, it creates momentum through consistency. The disciplined person shows up, not because they feel like it, but because they've made a commitment to their future. That commitment becomes a lifestyle, and that lifestyle becomes a foundation upon which destiny is built. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about progress. It acknowledges failure, but it doesn't stay there. It learns from mistakes and adjusts. It's flexible in method, but firm in mission. The person with discipline doesn't get distracted by how long the journey is taking. They trust that every step, every sacrifice, and every moment of effort is shaping something bigger than what can be seen right now. That trust builds perseverance, and perseverance produces results. Over time, discipline begins to reshape how you think, how you act, and how you respond to life. You become more focused, more intentional, and more resilient. You start becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait for life to happen, but actively participates in the making of it. Discipline creates direction, and direction leads to destination. Your habits start to match your goals, and your goals start to align with your destiny. You become a person of substance, not just ambition. And substance is what sustains success when it arrives. Decisions define direction, because every choice you make sets your life on a specific path. Whether you realize it or not, life is shaped not by the dreams you have, but by the decisions you make each day. From the smallest choices to the most significant turning points, each decision contributes to the trajectory of your journey. While vision gives you a picture of where you want to go, decisions determine whether you actually get there. They act as steering wheels, guiding your actions, influencing your habits, and ultimately shaping your future. Every day presents a series of choices. Some are seemingly insignificant. What time to wake up, how to spend your free time, whether to speak up or stay silent. Others carry more obvious weight. Who to partner with, what career path to follow, where to invest your resources. But even the small decisions, when repeated over time, become patterns. And those patterns create the rhythm of your life. What you consistently decide becomes what you consistently do. What you do consistently becomes who you become. So when people look at the outcomes of their lives, they are really looking at the sum of their decisions. One of the most powerful truths about decision making is that you cannot escape the consequences. Every decision brings results, whether desired or not. You can choose your actions, but you cannot choose the outcomes. That is why decisions require wisdom, clarity, and foresight. It's not enough to choose what feels good in the moment. You must choose what aligns with your future. The difference between someone who lives with purpose and someone who drifts through life often comes down to the quality and intention of their decisions. Decisions also reveal values. What a person chooses shows what they prioritize. A decision to invest time in learning reveals a value for growth. A decision to walk away from toxic environments reveals a value for peace. A decision to stay disciplined in difficult seasons reveals a value for the long term over the immediate. When values are clear, decisions become easier. But when values are compromised or unclear, decisions become reactive, emotional, and inconsistent. That's why it's critical to decide who you are before deciding what to do. Identity and direction are closely linked. At times, decisions will require sacrifice. The right choice is not always the easiest one. In fact, the path of purpose often comes with moments of discomfort, delay, or even pain. But wise decisions are not measured by convenience, they are measured by alignment. Does this choice move me closer to the life I want to live? Does it reflect the person I want to become? Does it serve the bigger picture I believe in? These are the kinds of questions that keep your direction steady when options are many and the pressure to conform is high. Decisions also influence your relationships. The people you choose to surround yourself with can either reinforce your direction or pull you off course. Choosing to walk with people who challenge, support, and align with your values is one of the most important decisions you can make. Your environment has the power to accelerate your growth or sabotage your momentum, and that environment is often shaped by decisions. Even indecision is a decision. Choosing not to act, not to move, not to decide is still a choice that leads somewhere. It often leads to stagnation, regret, or missed opportunity. Clarity is not always guaranteed before making a decision, but courage is necessary. Sometimes you must choose without certainty, trusting that even if the outcome is unclear, the direction aligns with your principles. Over time, your decisions become your legacy. They not only affect your own life, but also influence those who look up to you, learn from you, and walk with you. The life you build is a reflection of what you've chosen to pursue, accept, or walk away from. Destiny is not written in a moment. It is written in the accumulation of decisions made with purpose, discipline, and courage. Faith over fear is a principle that redefines how we respond to uncertainty, challenges, and adversity. Both faith and fear are internal forces that influence our external actions, but they move us in completely opposite directions. Fear focuses on what could go wrong. Faith focuses on what could go right. Fear paralyzes. Faith mobilizes. Fear makes you shrink back. Faith pushes you forward. When you choose faith over fear, you are not denying the presence of difficulty. You are choosing to trust in something greater than the difficulty itself. Fear is often rooted in the unknown. It thrives in unanswered questions, uncontrollable outcomes, unpredictable futures. It whispers worst-case scenarios and magnifies obstacles. Fear wants you to wait for perfect conditions before you act, to play it safe, to settle for less, to doubt your worth, and to second-guess your decisions. It can dress itself up as caution, but at its core, fear is a thief. It steals time, peace, confidence, and opportunity. The tragedy of fear is not just what it does in a moment, it's what it prevents over a lifetime. It stops people from pursuing their purpose, building meaningful relationships, starting bold projects, or stepping into new seasons. Faith, on the other hand, is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward despite it. It is the belief that even when things are unclear, something greater is guiding you. Faith trusts in purpose, timing, and process. It acts even when feelings aren't aligned. It speaks even when the voice shakes. It walks even when the path is hidden. Faith does not always come with certainty, but it always brings courage. It allows you to say, I don't know what's next, but I believe something good is ahead. Choosing faith over fear is a mindset, but it's also a habit. It's developed through daily decisions to lean into trust rather than retreat into worry. It shows up when you decide to try again after failure, to forgive when it's hard, to believe in yourself when others don't, to speak up when silence feels safer, and to pursue your goals even when the odds seem stacked against you. Every time you choose faith in small things, you train yourself to have it in big things. Faith over fear changes how you interpret setbacks. Instead of seeing them as signs to give up, faith sees them as part of the preparation. It reframes failure as feedback and delay as development. Fear looks at obstacles and says, this is the end. Faith looks at the same obstacles and says, this is the beginning of something greater. It transforms the way you wait, the way you struggle, and the way you rise again. It fills the gaps that logic can't explain with the strength to keep going. This choice also impacts how you influence others. When people see you walking in faith, especially in the face of fear, it encourages them to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. Your resilience becomes an example. You don't need to have all the answers to inspire someone. You just need to have the boldness to keep walking. And often that step of faith becomes the very thing that leads to breakthroughs, open doors, and unexpected favor. Fear is loud, but faith is steady. Fear makes demands, but faith offers direction. Fear wants proof before action. Faith acts before proof. When you lead with faith, you stop being driven by circumstances and start being led by conviction. You learn to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as invitations to grow. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if this works? You stop focusing on what's missing and start trusting what's already inside of you. You realize that the presence of fear is not the problem. It's whether fear gets the final say. And when you choose faith, you reclaim that voice. Everything comes down to choice. The choice is to believe in your vision, to walk in purpose, to stay disciplined, to make wise decisions, and to choose faith over fear. These are the choices that shape your direction and ultimately define your destiny. Your future isn't something that randomly happens to you. It's something you build step by step with every intentional move you make. And when those steps are guided by vision, fueled by purpose, grounded in discipline, strengthened by decisive action, and empowered by faith, you don't just live your future, you lead it.